This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. I had a previous video with a very interesting dispersal and an interruption in the flow of the particulate that was coming out of the jet that was flying. Those are not the type clouds that I saw growing up as a child. They're not simply contrails, condensation trails. There are chemical contaminants, nanoparticles, reports of aluminum, barium, strontium, biological self-replicating smart dust that's activated by electronics like Wi-Fi, cellular, 5G. Terraforming is another term for it. Population reduction, the great culling. They're putting toxic additives in the water, in the air, and in the food. There's a battle going on. 7 people per second no longer have the human experience. We're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. That's over 100 million per year. Roughly half of them are aborted. Now this plane flying right here has a more conventional looking condensation trail. That's not what happened earlier at about the same altitude. And we can see what's dropping out of these. I have video that I've done in the middle of the night, early in the morning, with 1,000, 2,000, 2,200 lumen LED light shooting up into the air, showing the reality that there's a lot of particulate. It's not dust, it looks like fibers, it's pretty reflective, and when I say pretty, I don't mean that it's beautiful, I mean it's very reflective. You can look it up. I've got a photo, it looks like kind of like a lightsaber. The sun is local as well as the moon. We didn't land on the moon, we don't live on a spinning water sphere, and we still got the monkeys. We didn't evolve from monkeys, we didn't explode into existence from a cosmogenic, cosgamic, cosmotic, whatever. It's a ridiculous story of the godless cosmic Big Bang that the atheist Masonic priests of gosh, it's a mess. It's a mess. Is what you believe true or what you want to believe? To be intellectually honest, I could be deceived as well. I have been. When I got clued into the fact that the reason why I was struggling so much with sin and the flesh is I was a walking dead man and didn't know it. The flesh is all I had. I had an appetite for pleasure and I tried to satisfy that. A life lived for the pursuit of pleasure is called hedonism. How about that? Take a look around, see what you come up with. You see it going on? I do. How about decadence? The disintegration of the traditional family biblical unit. We don't see many of those. It's not very popular. The truth isn't based on popular opinion. It's not popular and it's not an opinion. It's just the truth. There is the truth and then there's everything else. Do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, gyrating? Can't have a wind chime hanging upside down anywhere except in the imagination. Is a washing machine an anti-gravity device spinning the water off the clothes? No, it's just the way it actually works. Centrifugal force. Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? It depends on the temperature. The temperature differential drives the whole hydrologic cycle of the world, the water cycle of the world. That's the way it actually is. evaporation, condensation, precipitation in all its forms. The tide is going out now. I've got the Tides Near Me app that not only tells me the tidal activity, it actually tells me when and where the sun and moon appear and vanish. When I say where, I mean you can look it up in Australia. Hey, by the way, some of the Matrix scenes were filmed in Australia. How about that? Isn't that special? More to be revealed. We don't know what we don't know, right? It's just the way it is. So I'm going to run through some numbers. So look at the difference. The sun is going to be visible on tomorrow for roughly 12 hours and 1 minute. Okay? And then look at the moon. Well, a couple hours more roughly. And that variance changes through the seasons, through the phases, all of that. With the weather wars, or the modified weather and the modified people and all the brainwashing that's going on, I encourage people to seek the truth with all your heart, because, well, it matters for eternity. So you can call me anytime, call me whatever you want. I know how to block people if I need to. If you want YouTube truth stickers, send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. There you go. They look something like that. 169 Cloverleaf Drive, Long, South Carolina, 29568. And I'm aware that's sensitive information, but it's available publicly. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not hiding from anybody. So many verses in the Bible talks about the earth not moving, and that the sun, moon, and stars move above a stationary and level earth. Keep in mind there would be no level anywhere on a spinning water ball. The water would fly off, people would fall off. It's just the way it is. Now we've got the news, Channel 15 rolled in. I've talked to those people before, or at least some of the representatives. When we had Hurricane Florence came in, I did a live broadcast then too called Weather Wars. We get a lot of photo ops out here, professional photographers, videographers. About 20 million guests visited here last year, probably about the same this year. There will be competitions for soccer, softball, cheerleading, national competitions. It's the golfing capital of the world, apparently. How about that? So I've got a worldwide outreach that I live just about 7 miles from here in Longs. And this is the Prince Resort and the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier off in front of it. This sea of humanity, I don't have to run up to them frantically and tell them they shouldn't vaccinate their children. We got the word on that when we were pregnant with our first son. Joni was pregnant. When I went into the Safeway, found out that she was pregnant, I got a bottle of a jar of pickles, ate the whole jar of pickles before I got out of the store. I just checked out the juice. That was kind of funny. Programming. We're all being programmed. Somehow Vlasic pickles and storks and all that put the idea in my mind that pickles and ice cream and that's pregnancy stuff, right? It's kind of weird. It's actually surreal. I've got breakdowns on the movie The Matrix and other movies as well. I talk about them. We're living in a computer programmed reality. I'm not saying we live in a computer tower somewhere, although there's the digital me all over the place, right? How about that? Notice the level jet trail. That's a chemtrail. That's not a normal condensation trail. An airplane flies over a stationary, non-rotating, and level plane. NASA documents say so. NASA doesn't always lie. They lied about going to the moon. We're being lied to about the origin of our existence. We're not a cosmic cough, a celestial sneeze. God spoke this world into existence. You may know him as Yahweh, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the living word, the living water, the great I am, the Alpha and Omega. I know him as my heavenly Father and all of those. He is the way, the truth, and the life. If you don't love the truth, apparently, then you don't even love Jesus or Yeshua, YHWH. That's the Tetragrammaton. Look it up. I'm not saved by what I do. I'm actually saved to do what I'm created to do. And I was born again in 2014, even though I worked at a full-time ministry, Rawhide Boys Ranch in New London, Wisconsin. You can look it up if you want to. You can hashtag my name and see I'm not a predator or an offender. Although those kind of documents or histories could be falsified by AI, artificial intelligence. I'm outing that whole system. I don't know how I will exit this theater of battle. It's not a dinner theater. I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. In this video and the previous one, it's obvious to me the hot spot of the light beam of the sun. If you hashtag local sun, you'll see I've got many occurrences of it. Sometimes I talk about stuff. Sometimes I just let the water and the wind and the birds and the people do the talking. I do have a message though. It takes less than a day to hear the entire New Testament. 77 to hear from Genesis to Revelation. The book of Enoch should be probably included. It describes a lot of the activity of the fallen ones. Genesis 6, giants, the Nephilim. Jay Widener talked about the Nag Hammadi texts. They were written before they were contaminated. I don't buy that. Satan showed up in the Garden of Eden well before the Nag Hammadi were around, as far as I know. So people say a lot of things, believe a lot of things. Is it true? With the law of non-contradiction, opposing views can't both be right. Diametrically oppositional perspectives or beliefs cannot be both right. They could be both wrong. How about that? So there's the truth in everything else. I am a deep thinker. AI is powerful, knows a lot. God knows everything. He's omniscient. Omniscience is how omniscience looks. Look it up. God is all-knowing, knowing the end from the beginning. He's all-powerful. Nothing in this world's going to happen that God doesn't cause or allow. He created this place. Where will you spend eternity and why? If you're, you know what, do you still believe Santa Claus is delivering presents with flying reindeer? Really? When I found out that that was a lie, I was about 7 years old. And then they presented me the moon landing hoax as unquestionable reality, as Walter Cronkite has been heard saying millions of times, because millions of people heard it. And that's the way it is. Oh, really? Not buying it. They're lying. I ain't buying. God gave me favor to be able to be heard by a lot of people. For how much longer? Only He knows that. I sure don't. Satan can't even touch me unless God allows it. How about that? That is special. It's reassuring. So I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. I'm not afraid of being shunned, not invited to places, or killed, divorced, blocked, unfriended. I'm not responsible for what people do with the information I present. I'm responsible for obediently doing what I'm created to do. I love it. So now that I'm actually born again, oh, by the way, I thought I was an 82, like I mentioned earlier, just a few moments ago. Well, I also volunteered at Christ the Rock Community Church, led character development classes, helped build the facility. It was a mega church. I wasn't a bench warmer. And then we homeschooled our sons and presented the global lie as fact. Remember, any of us that are flat earthers now, I actually am a biblical creationist. It's a little bit different than a flat earther as far as I'm concerned. But I used to believe we lived on a spinning water ball. When I was a child and was told that there's upside down people in relationship to other people, it didn't sound right. Didn't make any sense to me. And then they said, well, gravity. Yeah, gravity is a theory that doesn't reflect reality. Hello. That's all. Second Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. So I'm not going to be able to overcome God causing people to believe the lie they apparently want to believe. All of God's children will absolutely be born again. I was a walking dead man and didn't know it. That's the way it is. By irony and paradox, I don't know what I don't know yet. More may be revealed. So I don't claim to know how the sun works. I know it puts off a good amount of heat. The water jugs that I have been putting in the sunlight for years, I had to move them because of seasonal changes. It's not just that the sun was shining in different spots in the yard. It was in different times of the year. It changed radically. We're in a seasonal change right now. Big time. And that magnified light in through the water actually did cause combustion. Caught grass on fire, burned cardboard. So I know the sun puts off heat. Now the moon puts off a different light spectrum. It's the feminine light spectrum, a cool light. You feel that coolness of Little Miss Sunshine that's not so happy and excited to share romance with you anymore, maybe, if you're a guy. There's a transpocalypse too, and that involves transhumanism, the integration of technology, the putrefaction and gender dysphoria and confusion that is even in the Matrix. The Wachowski brothers evidently became the Wachowski sisters. It's too weird. A lot of the programming of Playboy and the bunnies, a lot of them are trannies, transvestites, transgender. You can look it up if you care to. Satan is the deceiver. There's a very important reason why materialism and sexual desire are linked. It puts a lot of control in the people that are desired. You can look it up. The short version is sex sells. We live in a hypersexualized society. That sexual maturing early and puberty early is not only because of hormones in the food, it's visually activated corruption, decadence, the normalization of decadence. I'm telling, show and tell, telling on it. It's just the way it is. So some people will happen by my channel and be glad that they did. The Truth Mobile has got the Bible.com magnets on it now. I can take them on or take them off if I want. No matter how many of the actual conspiracies you can figure out, you got to be born again to even see the kingdom of heaven. This didn't happen because I did it on my own, picked myself up by my own bootstraps. It happened by the sovereign will of God. He's large and in charge. He's in control of everything. I tried killing myself in 2005. Well, on pharmaceuticals, Prozac and Depakote. I didn't want to live really bad. So right here is a break in the trail. Huh, how about that? How about that? Busted. I'm telling, showing and telling. If you look at a crosshatch like tic-tac-toe in the sky, it's not people going places only. That's weather modification, weather wars. I'm going to just zoom in on that. Look at that. How fortunate that I'm able to capture that and show you. But see, they've already made the documents public that they're geoengineering, modifying the weather. So the artificial intelligence creates money out of thin air, buys influence with that purchasing power, whether it's the petrodollar or whatever cryptocurrency it fashions and blockchain technology, and as intimidating as a Terminator robot is, if we were to have sub-zero weather in North America and an interruption of the power for a week, a majority of the population would be dead. When we had Y2K, we integrated a lot of technology into the power creation and distribution. There's computer operating in all of the power, almost all of the power generation, a nuclear power plant, clean coal, natural gas, all of that. Hey, by the way, there's a firmament up above us. You can't have a pressurized atmosphere, which we live in, and a vacuum of space without a barrier. That's called the firmament. You can look it up if you care to. It's a structure that separates the waters from above from the waters below. It's in Genesis 6, or Genesis, I should say. Genesis 6 talks about the fallen ones corrupting humanity, fallen angels. So, just to be clear, water is H2O. Hydrogen is combustible, oxygen is a catalyst. With the process of electrolysis, you can shatter the bond between oxygen and hydrogen, run a car on HHO. There's a Denny Klein did that, made a water torch to melt rock, cut steel. God doesn't have any shortage of electricity. There's electricity all around us, lightning. and more. And then we're electrically operated. An AED, a defibrillator, is at a lot of the not convenience stores, but major stores like Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club. For resuscitation, they'll use an electrical charge. Huh, no trail there, but we got one there. It started up. Huh, they just stopped there. What's that stuff falling out of the trails? Oh, sputtering a little bit there. How about that? Isn't that special? So I'm telling on them. You can call me anytime. Call me whatever you want, whenever. So the sun, moon, and stars move above a stationary and level Earth. Keep in mind there would be no level anywhere on a spinning water ball. How about that? Where will you be when the music stops playing? When the mark of the beast becomes worshiping the image of the beast, complying with the system so you can get food and stuff. Where will you be? It's a big deal. I recommend to everybody to get your house in order. Get right with God. Seek Him with all your heart because it matters for eternity. 7 people per second no longer have the human experience. That's about 100 million a year worldwide. Half of them are aborted. So we've got a cybernetic collective, people using technology and technology using people, manipulating and creating a digital Tower of Babel. Where will you be when the power goes off? If it happens when you're alive.
I know exactly what guy you're talking about.
Food for thought. Food for thought is more than healthy nutrition. It's keeping the garbage out, putting the good stuff in, including the truth. What will you do when the truth is right in front of you? Think about it.
Turning, she's got it. That's right,